Well, we'll break the mould away from the Cybernet and the more normal sets, and we will do a great GT858. And we have done a great GT858 Sumeet before. Well, I've done one before because I've got one on the shelf, which is our set, which is done. But it's not often you see one in a box. Now, a lot of you will hate these things. I love them, and where I live in the middle of nowhere, where they work great. Not, no pun intended, because they were made by great in Taiwan. So these came out in every guise possible. And, oh, it's even got its bracket. Now that's a snag, isn't it? Because if you use the correct screws, which these came with, you can end up knocking out, is it L9? And look at that, an instruction book. Wow. Transmit. And it is doing 2.8 watts. Now, that's already beyond the limit spec. So, these are not a 4 watt radio, they're 3.5 watt radio. And to be honest, it's about where a lot of new sets come out these days. So let's see on how frequency it is. It's 2779105. Show you that. And you know what? I'm on the wrong camera, aren't I? What am I doing? What am I doing? That's better. That must have been a right out of focus start. As I was saying, we've got the instruction book. So deviation, let's look at that. Wallow, it's 2.6, 2.7. Just slightly over, so we'll just bring that down a fraction. We'll hopefully get the power up and the deviation down. Now let's look at receive. Well, that's 0.3 of a microvolt we can hear. So to give a proper reading, I'll have to open the setup and we'll connect the deviation meter. No, we won't. We'll connect the cyanide meter. The customer is relatively local. I think he's about 7 miles away, and he's popped this in personally. Tell you what, it's in nice condition, and the coil that gets pushed over if you use the correct screw is okay. Not sure what this is about. Oh, it's a bodgy extra wire for another speaker. Oh, we'll get rid of that. But before we do that, we'll get the cyanide reading. So what I'll have to do... Yeah, the Fidelty 1000 does have the extension speaker socket, and the GT868, the one with the 4 knobs, they have the extension speaker sockets, but unfortunately this version doesn't. Right, switch over to the cyanide meter. And it is 0.76 of a microvolt. just see what it is for 20. Some sets won't do 20, but this is doing. It is 1.56, 1.8. It's all down to noise, that. It doesn't really matter at all. Just see what the manufacturer says in the instruction book. It doesn't. The first thing we're going to have to do is to take the cover off the phase lock loop department. I'll try and do this with the speaker connected, though I will lose these extra wires. Good. Right, we'll go back to transmit. I'll put it on frequency at the end because the test set won't have warmed up fully yet. A bit like my brain selecting the wrong cameras. Right. So we'll start with transmit. We'll keep on the 3 watt range. It's actually wandering around a bit. What's that about? Oh, we're not on, are we? Right, so maximum, maximum, maximum. So we'll move over to the next scale because we've got to 3 watts. .1. Need a different tool now. Still at 3 watts. Just melt the wax on that. So it's about 3.2 watts. So the meter, when we key it up, if we can see it, it's supposed to be in the centre. Yeah, it's right. It's right. It's that preset if we need to adjust it. Now deviation is here. So I'll get the little oscillator out. Wallow, 1, 2, wallow. Actually needs to come up a bit. Let's try it there. Wallow, 1, 2, wallow. It's a bit loud. Let's try it there. Wallow, 1, 2. That's right. See whether we've changed on frequency. 79116 now. So the test that's warming up, it's probably about spot on. So we'll look at receive. Oh, low power on these isn't adjustable, but just for the record, it is doing 100 milliwatts. Is that right? Yeah, it's doing 100 milliwatts. So receive. I'm going to get another crocodile clip and I'll pinch one off Mr. Chippy. Okay, so I've taken the PLL lid off and we're all ready to do the receive alignment. We'll set the attenuator on the signal generator so that we get about 4 dBs on the synod meter. I'll select the synod meter for the camera. There we go. So at the moment that's about 8 dB, 6 dB, 4 dB. The reason is we're trying not to saturate the receiver. Otherwise you won't be able to see the effects with FM having a capture effect. So that's worse. No improvement. As this is already receiving very well, so it may not be that it can be improved. Put a bigger signal on for this one. So I've shown before the signal, the method of doing this in the service manuals with a sweep generator. I have shown that on a couple of occasions, but it's far and away much quicker on a synod meter, which I don't think they were expecting you to use. I don't expect they did at the factory. And these are the detector, and this is the complicated one. If you get this wrong, you are going to want it with the sweep generator. Now back to the tool. That's a massive improvement. So we've got that peak, but it wants to be the tuning down side of the peak. So just when it starts to move back the other way. So let's read off what he's got now. And that's about 12. So he's now got 0.55 microvolts. It was 0.76 before, so there is an improvement. There's one more thing. I'm going to just go around again. Just going to go on this one again. Some of these are interactive. Okay, we'll read it again. 0.48. And let's see what we get for 20. .5675. So no improvement with the noise, but that doesn't matter. The sensitivity is brought up. So let's look at the, I'll put this onto the attenuator control. So that's, we're listening to 0.3 of a microvolt. So 0.3, 0.25, 0.2, 0.15, 0.1. Turn the tone off and make sure we can still hear it. Yeah. I can hear it, just hear it, 0.07. You know, incredible sensitivity. There you are. We did improve it. But it's these two here which are the swines. See what else the service manual says. Now some AM squelch on these. Oh, they don't seem to talk about the meter. So we've got squelch and meter to sort out. So we want it to... This is going to be fun without the meter lamp for you to see. So 100 microvolts, and if I put the other glasses on, I might just be able to see. No, I think we're going to have to fix the meter lamp first, so I'll pause the video. Okay, back to record, and oops, let's see. pockets of oscilloscope falls on the floor. I'll switch the power supply back on. And we've now got a meter lamp, so we'll set that signal on the signal generator. If you think, why can't we hear it? Well, I've disconnected the speaker. So that'll please some of those people who don't like the signal generator's 1 kHz tone. So we're looking for S9. We've got 100 microvolts on the signal generator. So on 100 and 0. It's one or other of these. Let's go for that one. Oh, that's as low as it goes. Yep, that's the one. So it's showing, it's just showing plus of the 9 there. If we turn it down to, it's a bit of a generous meter. Right, so we will connect the speaker back up. They're a bit of a swine to get to. Got to take the front off. There's the 4 little lugs at the side. There's the 2 under the tape, which, oops, I'll just tighten that up. I say tighten it up, I mean it's broken away anyway, which you often find with all makes. Don't say what do you expect of a grate, you know, but they're often like that. So, oh yeah, we're going to do the transmit frequency, or the phase lock loop general frequency, CT201, which is just there, and I think we are on frequency. I don't think I need to adjust it at all. Let's go to the frequency counter, go into transmit. Should be 2779.125. It's 2779.120. So I mean it's so marginal you wouldn't be normally touching that. (2779.127), which is just slightly high because they drift down with age. But you know, on the whole, the reference crystals they use in these are probably better than anybody else's because they really are stable. So there you are. What more can one say? Right, we'll solder the speaker back on, and then, where did I put it? Up there. Oh yeah, I know what I was going to talk about. As you know, there was another wire connected in parallel across this speaker. You can't do that because the speaker is 8 ohms. If you put another speaker across it, the load becomes 4 ohms. Well, then the amplifier may not like 4 ohms. I've not got the instruction book here now, but because I've just been scanning it. See what it says. No, it doesn't mention that. It's just a point. You could easily destroy the amplifier. Right, we'll solder this back on. It's even great branded speaker, so making their own speakers. So I wonder what happened to Great, because they were doing transistor radios. If you remember the Fidelty 3000 base station, a couple of years before, Fidelity did a transistor radio which used the same sloping case. So that was produced by a Great. So it just makes you wonder what happened to Great, because when these kind of finished, I never seem to see any more Great products. So there we are, that's that. We just need to set the squelch. So what we're going to do, we'll go back to attenuator controls. We'll set the squelch to full, like we would on any other radio, and see when it comes in. 1 microvolt, 3 microvolts, 10 microvolts, 30 microvolts, 100 microvolts. It comes in as 100 microvolts. It's spot on. We don't need to adjust that preset. I will just make a note in this copy of the manual. Oh, it's already there, I just hadn't filled them in green. Probably couldn't find the green highlighter pen that day. and the detector. Oh, sorry, the detector. Those two, and CT201 is the frequency set. So that's that. So we don't need to adjust that preset. It's spot on. And let's see if we turn the squelch down, where the sensitivity lies. So we'll turn the signal generator to standby. It's parked at 0.3 of the microvolts, and that's threshold. The background noise has just disappeared. So switch the signal generator back on. It's straight in. It's straight in. Put into the air, and I put the case on. I've also put the bracket on, because otherwise I'd forget, wouldn't I? Because I'm like that. Oops, I'd better switch the power supply on. Well, that's a nice start, isn't it? 1-9 Roger. Yeah, usual bucket mouths out there. So yes, I mean, the sensitivity's there. We got it down to 0.48 of a microvolt. Just remember, these are cheap radios. I might like them, you might like them, you may hate them, and the clarity just isn't what you're going to get on things like a Cybernet or a Uniden or even a Maxon. So you know, it's horses for courses, isn't it? So that's the disadvantage. It's the received clarity. The transmit clarity is superb. They may do 3.2 watts, but they really pack a punch. So there you go. That's the Sumeet GT858B, one of the cheapest CB radios around. I don't know what the original recommended price was. I mean, the Fidelty 1000 was a whopping $69.95, but the GT868s, the ones that these with 4 knobs, were $49.99. So these must have come in less than that, and I know I did see them. I saw sets like this being cleared for $14.99 type of money by 83. I'll tell you, there is one price to reference, and that's I remember the Barracuda GT868, which is the 4-knob version. I remember they did a bit of a sale on those at $39.99. So it's difficult to gauge what the original recommended price was on these, but I say you do have to appreciate they're a cheap radio. They don't have an extension speaker socket, and that can be a pain. So thanks for watching.